Welcome to the You Don't Know What You Don't Know podcast by Innovative Business Advisors. Successful business owners who have started, grown, and led businesses share their journey and direction for the benefit of those traveling the same path.
Well, when we began sharing with our friends and associates that we're going to start a podcast to focus on successful business owners, a great banker friend of ours by the name of John Vitale said, "You absolutely must talk with Lizzy." And as a result of that recommendation, I'm very excited to have as our guest today, Elizabeth Toepfer. Elizabeth and her husband Bob own the famous Lizzie Bob's Bakery in Fairview Heights, Illinois. Elizabeth, i.e. Lizzy, is a self-taught baker, and her husband Bob is the bread maker in the business. The business has expanded rapidly from baked goods to homemade ice cream to a complete line of gluten-free, fresh and frozen items. The store has also expanded into frozen homemade meals to go, which are available Tuesdays through Saturdays. In addition to that, they offer fresh hot pizza and lasagna meals. The business has expanded from a single storefront to a mobile bakery food trailer, and they have a growing online e-commerce business. So listen in while Lizzy shares with us how she took her love for baking and combined it with her college business degrees to establish and lead a thriving business. Welcome, Elizabeth. I've really been looking forward to this.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, we are honored that you would take the time out of your very busy schedule and spend a little bit of time with us. I know the baker's hours usually start early and go long into the day.
Right, around 3 a.m.
3 a.m., okay. Wow, that is pretty early. Outstanding. Well, listen, tell me about the moment you first decided that you wanted to go into this business. Do you remember that moment?
If I could rewind to when I was 12, my mom taught me how to make my first apple pie. I fell in love with baking and cooking like at that very moment. And fast forward to, becoming an Air Force spouse and being the one that everyone came to for a meal, whether it was, dinner or dessert, just because they needed something. I was always happy to donate my time and my gifts and bring them something to make them bellies full and have big smiles on their face. But in 2013, I graduated from AIU with my associates and bachelor's in business management. My husband also went through as well, and he graduated with his. And I said, well, what do I do now? And he said, start a business. He goes, you love to cook and bake. Why not start a bakery? Initially, actually, it was going to be a catering company or a personal chef, because I love to teach people how to cook. I love to show people, this is what you do with these fresh ingredients. But yeah, baking was always in my forethoughts because of my mom teaching me. My Aunt Marilyn owned the Pie Pantry in downtown Belleville back in the 70s and 80s. I remember sitting at the kitchen counter and watching them making pies and just smelling all those wonderful smells. And it brings you back to those wonderful memories. And that's what I hope our products do for the customers who receive them.
How cool. So this is a family tradition. It's in the genes. You couldn't get away from it.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty neat. I think we all have somebody's kitchen that we love to hang around with, right? And usually it's the best cook in the neighborhood. Sounds like you were that person in your circle.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, cool. So how many years have you guys had the business now?
We've been at our retail location for 6 years. It's been an incredible milestone for us to reach. I'm super excited. They say, most new businesses, they'll fail within the first 5 years, or they'll be profitable or not be profitable. So it's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. I work even when I'm not working. I'm thinking about it all the time. And I even keep a notebook by the side of the bed if I just come up with ideas for things. So yeah, we're really, really proud of every success that we've gotten, no matter how big or small.
That's really something special too, because as you well know, less than half of the businesses that start make it through their first year. And of those that make it beyond their first year of business, more than half of those die before they make it to the year 5. So you guys are over the hump. You're doing really well. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of in your business?
So everything is made from scratch. I do not use mixes. I do not use preservatives. So what we offer is something very unique that you can't find anywhere else. We use fresh local ingredients. We go through 32 dozen eggs a week.
Wow.
We go through about that many pounds of butter per week. We use real heavy cream, fresh fruit, fresh, everything. We like to support other local small businesses like our local farmers. We buy all of our eggs from Becker Eggs in Germantown. We also sell them at our store. I pride myself on people walking in the door and saying, "Oh, I just need to pick up a cake. Go pick it up from the back in the freezer." No, you're not going to get a frozen cake like the grocery store. This is in the name, Lizzie Bob Sweets from Scratch. So when you order something, it's made fresh to order for the day that you want it, because I want you to taste the quality. I want you to see the quality. And that really unique niche is what I think has kept us going.
Yeah, that's quite a difference. I mean, so many of the outlets today are utilizing, mixes and prepackaged items and kind of heat and serve. That's kind of the standard in the restaurant business, but you are the traditional way. And John was also sharing with me that one of your hallmarks is how strong you are in the local community and using other suppliers in the local community, which is really a blessing to your community.
Oh, most definitely. Local farmers, local stores around us, other small businesses. We'd like to hopefully start classes soon at Cafe Biz. They're just down the street. She's a woman-owned business as well. She's a military spouse as well. And she has a great venue for us to do some decorating classes or freezer meal classes. And we've had a lot of interest from our customers. And I love to teach.
Hey, that'd be cool. That would be really neat. Yeah. Awesome. Well, your business, outside of the fact that you source everything local and you make everything fresh, is there anything else that you would consider that makes your business really special or different from any other bakery that you've ever known?
I think the fact that we offer customer service, first and foremost, that is 100% the very first thing. When you walk in the door, you're at Lizzie Bob's Bakery. I'm Lizzie. That's Bob, the only two people that work here. And sometimes I have to stay late after we close because we're so busy talking to our customers, because everyone is like family. I mean, I'm a Sicilian at heart. And when you walk in, I want to feed you. I want you to be happy. I want you to come back. And it's been such a blessing in 6 years to turn our customers into friends. I mean, it's lifelong relationships, and we care about them, and they ask us about us and our family and our kids. And it's just wonderful. And I think that's something that a lot of other retail stores are lacking, is in customer service. And that is the number one priority, especially for retaining your loyal customers. But not only that, just building relationships that are just going to last even through retirement.
Yeah, I think you're right. There are lots of people that say that they focus on customer relationships, right? But you really make it personal. So you're really building relations with your customers as well. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm hearing you say. Yeah, that's phenomenal. It's also interesting. Your menu has grown substantially. So when you started, were you solely baked goods? Did you just have a line of baked goods, and then talk to me about how you've kind of branched that out over time?
So yeah, when we first opened, it was like the most nerve-wracking day of my life. we were driving to work at 3:00 in the morning, and I looked over at Bob. I'm like, "What are we doing? Why are we doing this?" I said, "Yeah, you need to pull over, because either I'm going to turn around and walk home, or I'm just going to be sick." But yeah, we first started.
Right, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I'm a very people person, and I like to pretend that I'm not afraid of anything, but oh my gosh, that was the most frightening moment of my whole life. But yeah, we started out with just pastries. So like fresh scones, cake pops, cookies, slices of cheesecake, a few things here and there. Our first day, I didn't know what to make because I didn't know what people would want. So I filled the cases, and by 1:00 we had sold out of everything. And I was just like, wow.
Really?
What
Wow,
just
that is cool.
happened here? We just had like every customer in Fairview Heights and O'Fallon just came through here and bought everything. But
That
just
is
as
really cool.
yeah, as the months went on and the years went on, we noticed a bigger need, and our customers would tell us, "Hey, would you make anything without sugar? Would you make anything without gluten? What about dairy free?" And funny thing is, I'm lactose intolerant, have been for 26 years, so um, I feel the pain of those that can't have dairy. But Bob is a great taste tester when it comes to certain things that I can't eat. And of course, our kids, our teenagers, they'll tell us the truth no matter what. But yeah, we started making ice cream. I'd say in 2018, everyone was like, "Hey, do you guys make ice cream?" I said, "No, but sure, why not?" So I started making it in the KitchenAid mixers. I make it with real cream, milk, sugar, and real vanilla. And then we
Wow.
just add in, chocolate, vanilla. We threw in gooey butter cake into our ice cream. We threw our fudge brownies in there. Now we do boozy ones. We do maple bourbon pecan with bourbon soaked pecans in there. We're coming out with a tequila lime ice cream.
Wow.
And then 2020, I mean, everyone who walked in the door, "I don't know how to cook. Can you make me something to eat that I can take home to my family? I know you can cook, Lizzie." And I'm like, "Well, sure." So we started with lasagnas. And I was just like, "Bob, this is the moment. This is what it originally was going to be, the catering company. And I wanted people to have meals they could take home to their family." So it started with beef lasagna. Then it was Mexican chicken lasagna. Then it was chicken pot pies, shepherd's pies, sausage penne, chicken Alfredo. And then Bob, he's from West Virginia. Their staple food is the pepperoni roll.
Sure.
It's a giant pizza roll in your hand. So he
Yeah.
started making those. So you can get all those in the freezer. And then our gluten-free customers, our daughter included, she has celiac. So everything that we make that's gluten-free, she has personally taste tested. And she's 15 and very honest. So if she doesn't like it, then we don't sell it.
What's your daughter's name?
Isabella.
So do you have the Isabella approved stamp that goes on the package?
Yeah, that's a great idea. We should have a stamp made.
Yeah,
But yeah, we also added a refrigerator because everyone was asking for farm eggs because, during 2020, I don't know why, but bread, eggs, and milk were always just the hottest commodity. And so we started selling the farm eggs, and then other local small businesses like the Blessed Bee that sells hand salve. And then our honey producer from Belleville, we sell his honey, Johnny sauce and seasoning out of Freeburg. We just love building relationships with other small businesses and supporting them, and they support us, and it's great.
That's awesome. I want to talk a lot about the effect of the pandemic because most people, particularly those that are in the retail business, really cringe. But I think your story is a little bit different. But I want to come back to that in a few minutes.
Sure.
Every business owner, when they first start, they probably have challenges that they didn't foresee that they've got to overcome early. When you first started your business, did you have that experience? Did you expect it to be one way and then different challenges kind of popped up?
I mean, money was always the issue. We're a small business. We invested our entire savings into this business. And I've since paid Bob back. After 10 years, he's finally gotten his truck back.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
He suffered through too many vans just to get to that truck. So, but yeah, cash flow. It was always the very beginning, money. How are we going to do this? How are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to pay the rent and the utilities? How are we going to buy the materials that we need to produce the product? And in the beginning, it was hard. I mean, we were making the money and turning right back around and spending it and putting it right back into the business. So we weren't paying ourselves. We were working 12 to 14 hours a day. It was easy to burn out, but I kept thinking, we started this. We're not quitters. We're going to keep going. And then all of a sudden, it just growth started happening. We started getting new customers, loyal customers. They were telling their friends. More people were coming in. We were, creating new products and services. And right now we're looking into expansion. So we have the mobile bakery trailer, and we just want to go everywhere with it. Like last August we launched it, and it's been so great getting out in different communities, meeting different people. And it's so fun to be like, oh, where are you located at? I want to come to your bakery. Or wow, I can get stuff right off your food trailer. And it's not a food truck. I have to tell people that it's a 6x12 trailer with a fridge, a freezer, and a microwave. We make everything at our bakery. We package it up and we sell it right out. So unlike a food truck where you're waiting 20 minutes for a taco, you say, hey, I'd like a cake pop, a slice of pie, a slice of cheesecake. We get it. You pay for it. You're good to go.
Yeah, you bring all the sweet treats to the events. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. When I imagine with your multiple business degrees, you probably started with a business plan, did you?
Yes. I started with SIUE with Joanne Maggio. Incredible person. Of course, I was introduced to her by John Vitale, who has introduced me to so many more people, to SCORE mentors. And it's really the business mentors in my life from the very beginning. I wanted to jump right in and start that retail store right when I had this concept in 2013, and they kept saying, no, you have to wait. You need to build a following. You need to have a customer base. You can't just open a store and nobody knows who you are. And boy, that patience grew thin with me. I just, when I want to do something, I want it like right now. But our business plan started off with just, let's make enough money so that we can build a customer base. And then it's like, okay, now that we have that customer base, now we want to open a retail store. And Joanne helped me with all the demographics. She helped me with all the different, things that we need. And I put together my first business plan, and her services were free. So that was amazing for a small business entrepreneur like me. And I highly recommend her to everybody who wants to start a business or become an entrepreneur, especially women. Our business is 100% woman owned. It's in, my name. Bob is listed as a manager and vice president. But he tells everyone he's a glorified dishwasher.
And bread baker.
And bread baker.
Well, that's really cool. Yeah, that's as I said before, John is a great banker, and one of the things I think makes him great is that he's more than just a money salesperson. He does plug into a whole resource of people, and he's such a giver in that regard. That's why we love to be associated with John and folks like him. And I'm with you 100%. I think SCORE is the best kept secret for small business. It astounds me that business owners are not beating a path to their door every day. We're like you. We're huge cheerleaders of that organization. They do great work. And the price is right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's always interesting to hear from industry leaders who are not necessarily in the food business, but who have done multiple other businesses and telling you, these were my challenges. These were my successes. This is how you can get to that point. And just like to be your biggest cheerleader, to have that support is just amazing.
Isn't it funny though? You mentioned, money is your biggest issue, even though you put a lot of work into the plan, right? And you build a nice plan. Mm-hmm. The business never, ever follows the plan exactly. So you got to learn how to kind of pivot, right? And work through it.
Yes.
Sounds like you guys were real successful at that.
So if you're talking about 2020, the era of missing toilet paper, and yes, we when we opened the doors, we had 2 tables with chairs. So we had seating for 8. People could come in and have lunch, because we also serve lunch. Homemade chicken salad, BLT, candied BLTs on Bob's homemade bread, and people would sit there and enjoy their lunch, and it was great. And then no one was allowed to come in. Yeah. So instead of, we need to lock our doors and shut down like everybody else. No, we are not going to do that. We are a small business. This is our livelihood. I refuse to go down with the ship. So we got rid of those tables and chairs. We put in a giant freezer, an ice cream freezer. We bought a refrigerator. So we started making the freezer meals. We started making the ice cream and selling the eggs and the milk and everything else that went along with it. we offered local delivery within 5 miles. We offered curbside pickup if you wanted to call ahead, and we'd get your entire order ready, no contact, just pay over the phone and we'll bring it out to you with a mask and a smile. And that is really what saved us in 2020 and really launched the freezer meals and everything else that keeps rippling off of that we keep making new products all the time. And really listening to our customers. A lot of people will, go into a business, oh, I wish you had something like this. And instead of writing it off, I actually have a notebook that I write down everything people ask me. And I thought, okay, can I make this possible? That's what Test Kitchen Wednesday is for. And there's a lot of successes and there are a lot of failures.
Well,
but
that is
yeah.
the failure is the route to success, right?
Absolutely. And in 2020, ironically, our sales were up 20%.
So say that again, will you please?
In 2020, our sales were up 20%.
Right. So the world locks down. Nobody can basically socialize anymore. Retailers, millions of retailers go out of business, and your sales are up 20% because you listened to your customers and you adjusted to what they needed.
Yes.
Phenomenal. Talk a little bit more about that. How has that continued since 2020? Here we are in 2022. Are you still seeing, growth trends in your business?
Yes. Now that we have the mobile bakery trailer, a lot of people are asking us, hey, can you come to my house for a birthday party? Wow. Or can you teach my kids how to decorate a cupcake? Or are you going to offer any classes? We'd really like to learn. And I love to teach and I would love to keep doing that. And yeah, the freezer meals have grown exponentially to just a few little lasagnas to a multiple offerings that we are restocking like on a weekly basis. I'm, sourcing different grocery stores and local farmers for all of our ingredients because some of them are still kind of hard to find. But it's really interesting to hear people come in, oh, I really like this meal. Do you think you could make this? Or when I was, so old, my grandma used to make this certain cake and I can't find this cake anymore. Do you think you could make it? And I'm on there Googling, what is this? So any way to just help our customers in any way possible and to retain their business and their loyalty. And it's just been a phenomenal ride. I still can't believe we're at this point that we want to grow even bigger. And no, there won't be another location, but the mobile bakery trailer will get us out to different communities and hopefully maybe a different location. We have been looking for different spots to move to that are maybe a little bigger because we are busting at the seams in our 1,000 square foot retail space.
Wow. Yeah, I'll bet. So it's fascinating. Your first challenge when you first start is money, which is every single business's first challenge. Very rare for that not to be it. And as a matter of fact, the SBA statistics will share with you that most of them don't make it because they never get over that hurdle. But you got over that hurdle and things are going along fairly well. And then all of a sudden the pandemic comes to visit and you got to make a huge change in your business and adjust everything you're doing, not only your product mix, but the way you even serve your customers, right? And,
yes.
And figure it all out and have to deal with the supply issues that everybody else is dealing with, just on a different scale. So now that things are becoming a little more kind of back to normal for you guys, as you're creating this new normal in your business, what are some of the current challenges you're facing these days? What has changed in that regard for both more on the challenging side and even on the positive side? So how would you address that?
So like lately, we've finally become stable enough where we can, pay ourselves a decent wage, and that's awesome. I would love to eventually hire someone because we're constantly in the back making things. Yeah. And we always holler up through the pass-through window, be right there, whenever we hear the little ding, ding, ding. And then Bob and I look at each other and he's like, it's your turn. And I said, no, it's your turn. I'm right in the middle of something. You go. So yeah, I'd love to hire somebody.
What about your kids? Do they work in the business at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. Bobby's 17 and Izzy is 15, and they work on Saturdays because they go to high school during the week.
Right. Nice.
Um, and of course, at first they were working for free, but now they're like, I think we need to get paid. So I've been paying them. They were just getting tips, but now I'm giving them a little wage for working on Saturdays. But you can't, they're your kids. It's labor, and it's however they get paid is how they get paid. They live in our house for free.
Yeah. Yeah. But they have needs too, right? They want to go out on
They
dates
do.
and do some of that stuff. Yeah.
They do.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, it sounds like I'm kind of reading between the lines a little bit. It sounds like, your love of teaching, you're going to have that opportunity. You originally had envisioned a catering business. You, in effect, are doing catering. You're catering meals to people's homes, every Tuesday through Saturday now, right? You've got a whole list of catering clients out there. So
Yeah, and we could do hot meals too, like for people that don't want to defrost it and then put it in the oven. We can do a fresh hot pan of lasagna with homemade garlic breadsticks by Bob and some cookies. I also do roast chicken with potatoes and biscuits and everything. And he makes hot pizza. Bob's dream was always to have a pizza shop. So I'm like, go for it, buddy. So now we make 3 kinds of pizza with his homemade crust and sauce, and people can order a hot, fresh pizza if they want to pick up dinner and not have to cook or anything.
that's awesome. Wow, that's really cool. Really cool. So as you think about the future, I heard you say a few minutes ago, you're not thinking about another retail store. You're thinking about classes. You're thinking about taking your mobile trailer to various locations and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you envision as the next step of growth for your company?
So I started a YouTube channel, still working on that. But I want to have a whole bunch of videos for, making meals or cake decorating that people can subscribe to, and maybe a little podcast or 2. I don't know. But I've been writing a cookbook for like the past 10 years.
Excellent. Excellent. And are most of the recipes your own recipes, yours and Bob's recipes?
Yeah, it's kind of like I get inspiration from people on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere. And I think, oh, how can I make that? And, you Google a recipe or 2, but then you turn it into your own. Like I would take 3 or 4 different recipes, pick out the things that I like about them, and then create it myself.
And you have Test Kitchen Wednesday where you can go test those things, right? And see how they shake out.
Yeah, especially with the gluten-free options. Test Kitchen Wednesday has been really huge for that. We use Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour blend. Yeah. And I mean, it tastes just like the regular products that we make. I think so. Isabella loves them. Our regular gluten-free customers are real happy with them. We now do gluten-free birthday cakes too. We've made several of those. And it's just really great. I mean, Test Kitchen Wednesday is a chance to make something that you read in a magazine or had an idea for and see if it works or not. Sometimes it's a success and sometimes it's a big failure.
But you got to keep trying. You got to keep trying.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm with you. Our daughter has to eat gluten-free, and she's constantly bringing new gluten-free items over to our house. And it really is a challenge to find things that taste what I would say is taste normal, that taste like we would expect them to taste in our palate. It doesn't necessarily mean they're bad if they're different, but it just has a different texture and a different taste than you would expect. So
correct. Yeah. And with French macarons, it took me 3 years to master those. I tried multiple, tips and recipes and ideas, and I bought classes from people off of YouTube to learn how to do it. And 3 years later, I finally feel like I've mastered it enough to make my own version of a French macaron, and people like them. So must be doing something right.
Yeah, they're selling. So now you may become the teacher, huh? Through YouTube or podcast or whatever.
Oh yeah, I love to teach people. So, I figure if you can read, you can cook. That's my motto.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. So, as a business owner, I want you to switch hats a little bit from being kind of, it sounds like you are a little bit of the chief everything officer. You're kind of the chief cook and bottle washer in the business, right?
Yes.
You and Bob do everything in the business itself.
Mhm.
As you continue to grow and thinking about, building value in your business, because as you said, you wanted to make sure Bob got his truck. And now that he's got his truck, now we want to, are you guys thinking about this business? We can build a retirement for ourselves in this business, or what's your long range thinking?
So when I reach the point that I want to retire, um, I would like to, eventually finish that cookbook and sell that cookbook and be like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the bakery that we all grew up with and loved, and here's her cookbook, and now we have these treasured memories. My Aunt Marilyn did that before she passed away, and I it is my prized possession is her cookbook that she made. But yeah, like building retirement, investing our profits that we're making so that eventually, Bob and I can get a house out in the country and travel whenever we feel like it.
Awesome. Well, I think your thought process is really good. You're thinking, first off, not only is your business going to have some value in it that you're building in Lizzie Bob's bakery itself, but expanding that out to where you have books, maybe a YouTube channel where you're doing some teaching and people can subscribe to learning how to do it. So you're thinking about multiple sources of revenue from your business. I think the people that are the most successful do that. They take their core business and diversify that a little bit and build value out over time. That's outstanding. When you think about business value and you think about growing, net worth in your company, what does that normally bring to mind for you?
Like growing and expanding, maybe investing or getting investors that would invest in our bakery, maybe making us a brand that is sold in grocery store.
There you go.
Uh, and see, just a few of the items that are really popular, like our cinnamon rolls on Saturday, or pecan sticky buns, Bob's homemade bread. It's really fun and interesting to go to grocery stores for me because I always look at what they're making, or I'll go to other bakeries like in Missouri or Illinois or anywhere else, and I'll be like, I can make that. Maybe I can make that better. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be like a dream come true to have, something that says Lizzie Bob's Bakery sitting on a store shelf that somebody could buy. And then one of our customers would be like, oh my gosh, I know those people.
Yeah. I love the way you're thinking in that regard. There are typically, we always say in our work with our clients, there are basically 7 legs of value to every business, right? So the profits that your business is producing, you're talking about investing those profits, right? To make those profits work for you into the future, either in your business or in other investment vehicles for your business. The growth is another leg of the stool. You're talking about growing into teaching, you're talking about growing into cookbooks, right? Writing books. You're talking about potentially growing into product distribution where you have products with your name on them in stores and available in other outlets. All those things are really, really important. Your business model also, I think what's really interesting about what you and Bob have accomplished so far and what you have in front of you is, when you think about a retail business like yours, a traditional bakery, people come in and buy things and then leave, right? So when you have something like a pandemic that forces people to stay in and they can't come out and buy things, you guys didn't let that hurt you at all. You completely shifted and pivoted to where you basically let your customers know that you were just more than fresh baked goods for them. You could be a better resource for them. So you created this kind of recurring revenue machine where your customers came to rely on you for more than, just one particular product, which is really good. Now you're building this relationship with your clients where they're learning to live with you guys. And then, of course, great customer service with great customer satisfaction. That whole recurring revenue model is built on that trust that you guys have established with them. So that's another leg of the stool. There's one other thing called the monopoly factor, which I think you kind of touched on earlier. The monopoly factor is building a moat around your business that's hard to duplicate. And, the Lizzie Bob brand, if you end up selling products that are in other stores, that's kind of like Mrs. Fields, right? Or any of the famous brands that you're familiar with in the marketplace. That's what they did. They just created a particular perception that their brand itself, nobody could attack that because it was specific to their particular location. So I think it's really cool. I think you guys got a lot of really neat things going on in your business. And it's a sum total of those things that will actually grow the value of your company and make your company very attractive to somebody else, so that when you and Bob get to the point that we'd like to buy a place in the country and do a little travel, somebody else is going to want to step in and say, wait a minute, these guys have already done all the hard work. There's hordes of people coming here every day, right? We want to buy that business and pay them for the combination of all these different value lines. So my hat's off to you, Elizabeth. You guys are just phenomenal in what you're doing in that regard. And I think you guys really have it licked.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, awesome. Well, listen, what can we do to support you other than just tell everybody we know? Is there a place where you would invite people to go to learn more about your business, or your website or your e-commerce site? What would you recommend?
Yes, LizzieBobsBakery.com, and it's LIZZIE.BOBSBAKERY. We have everything on there from our e-commerce shop. You can order online and pick up within 48 hours. We're hoping to bring back shipping. We did a lot of shipping during the pandemic. We even shipped to Canada. It was pretty awesome.
Wow.
And it's just right now, not all the shippers are guaranteeing that 2-day period where our fresh products need to get to where they have to go so that they're not spoiled or expired or anything like that. So once that's fixed, our shipping customers will be happy because they email me all the time and ask for a carrot cake, and I can't send it in good faith knowing it'll get there within 2 days.
Yeah.
But it's just, we're just living the dream.
Communication with those customers. That's a key thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah, being this close to the base, a lot of military families have come and gone, and we know that because we've experienced that. And it's really important to stay in touch with everybody.
Well, the one thing I know about Scott Air Force Base over there is they got a lot of those planes coming in and out of there every day. Make sure you can get some of those fresh baked goods on those planes. I'm sure there's people in the Pentagon that got used to those products before they had to go back to Washington.
One of our customers, she loved our cookies so much that she shipped them to her friends in Germany, and they just got them a couple days ago, and they were completely fresh. She's like, I said, did everything you said. We stored it in a tin with a piece of bread to keep it fresh, and she says they got them and they were really good.
That's awesome. Well, fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about Test Kitchen Wednesdays too, because I'm going to make that a part of my calendar and get over there sometime. When's the best time to show up to get things fresh hot out of the oven?
So with Test Kitchen Wednesdays, we usually do the testing in the morning. We're open 8 to 2. So okay. I'd say, by 11, 12 o'clock, there's stuff in the cases that we've tested that we're happy to put out for you guys to try.
Outstanding. Well, Elizabeth, it's been a delight to speak to you this evening. I really have enjoyed it. You got a great business going on over there. You got a great reputation in the market. John definitely didn't disappoint. He said this lady's going to amaze you at everything she's got going on in a bakery, and boy, was he right.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having us on the podcast and sharing our information. I mean, it's really incredible to think about all these interviews we've been doing, and I'm a very humble person, and success is just, it's something that you hope for and then you achieve, and it could just go up from here. Exactly.
Just keep striving higher. Awesome. Yeah. Well, again, thank you very much for your time. We'll give our best to Bob as well. and tell them we'll see them over there on an upcoming Wednesday.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, Elizabeth, take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the You Don't Know What You Don't Know podcast. We invite you to visit www.youdon'tknowwhatyoudon'tknow.com and sign up to receive updates on upcoming episodes. You can also let us know if you'd like to be a guest or recommend a business owner to be interviewed. Find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can like, follow, share, and join our efforts. Thanks for listening. We hope you join us again.